What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our deflated, sad, frustrated match reaction here on Anfield Agenda. Liverpool have thrown away 3 points at Elland Road. You give Leeds credit for fighting back into the game and showing the bottle that they have. But once again, as a Liverpool fan, we have far more questions than we do answers. So we're all going to have our own take on who we think or what we think is responsible for this. But ultimately, once again, a weak underbelly has been exposed to this Liverpool team. An inability to see out a game of football that we led twice by 2-0. And yes, Canade is a liability. And yes, he gave Leeds the momentum. But the whole team capitulated. We have no backline. We have no fight. We have no spirit. We have a weak mentality at the minute. There is blame to be assigned around everywhere, from the manager to the defence. It is a soulless, hurtful, sorrowful evening yet again. My phone is already awash with messages from people saying this can't go on. This is soul destroying. This hurts. Right now, if I'm being entirely honest with you, I don't really have much anger left to give. I feel sad. I feel like I could genuinely cry. I don't know what else we can say. I don't know what more needs to be said. It doesn't really matter who we want to point the finger at individually. Collectively, it isn't working. That game should have never gotten to the point where Leeds were back in it twice. Never. And it's no irony that they scored their equaliser from another set piece, which we have been unable to defend all season. I'm going to just read your comments for the next few minutes while I try to compose myself and gather my thoughts, because all I have right now is pain. That's it. I've got no anger. I've just got pain. Because we knew. Let's be honest. When that ball hit the back of the net, did any of you feel surprised that Leeds had found the equaliser? I didn't. I see people in the chat saying it wasn't a penalty. Yeah, it was. It was a fair decision. You know, we need to look inwardly. Not at Anthony Taylor. Not at anybody else. Us. We're the problem. We need to own that and accept it, or we're getting nowhere. Mohamed Salah went across and clapped the home fans the away end at the end of the game. James Pearce just posted that. Red's Army said Canada gave them that win, but 9 minutes at a time. What the fuck? Look, do I think the 9 minutes at a time was excessive? Yes. But we conceded in the 6th minute of added time. I honestly thought when Dominic Szoboszlai put that ball in the net to make it 3-2, I thought we were going to see that out. But I wasn't at all surprised, as I said, when they scored that equaliser. There is a weakness in this team. There is a fragility in this team. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know how it stops. But I do know that the manager has to go. I'm not saying that this loss in its own right is on Arna, but it's symptomatic of a bigger problem that's been at this club. Something smells wrong. Something feels wrong throughout the club. I don't really have a defence for this. I'm just broken. Matthew, Johnny said, were we even surprised when the third went in? That's the state of the team. Ibu was one of my favourite players last season. Now he's a liability. He is a liability. And he has been a liability all this season. But never once has he been held to account. And today, yet again, when that game was managed and Leeds had nothing in it, we were starting to find spaces when Leeds attacked. Willie Gnonto is on the left side of the penalty area At the best case scenario, he puts a cross in that Canade stands there to block. But that clown, once again, went to ground, gave away a stupidly needless penalty. And whether you think that was a penalty or it wasn't, he gave the referee a decision to make. We aren't boxing clever. And Virgil is not without criticism, because again, we didn't defend another set piece. We scored 3 goals today away from home and still didn't leave with a win. This team is soft, weak, and it's from the back mainly. Because let's be honest today, we can talk about the players that were left out. But if I offered you 3 goals before this game started, I dare say many of us would have taken it. But once again, 3 isn't enough. Vardat said, fire this clown manager, bring in Stevie G for the season. Canada and Gakpo are a huge liability. Drop him out and continue playing Gakpo is a big crime. I agree on that. I agree. I don't think there is one person today. That's a collective failure, and that's what makes it even more hurtful. Is they showed that weakness again. Well, thank you very much for the Premier League title, but it's clear that that's the end. And I know Liverpool aren't a team to sack managers, but this feels like a loss today. It definitely feels like a loss. You know, we often talk about the context of a draw. If you're Leeds United and you're Leeds United's fans leaving that stadium tonight, you are buzzing because it feels like a win. But when you've led by 2, being pegged back, found a way to go back ahead again, and still capitulated, it doesn't feel like a point. It feels like a loss. Again. Kazawar FC said, doesn't even hurt anymore. I definitely feel hurt, mate. I feel sadness. I don't have anger left in me. Because anger is when you're surprised by something. Or, you know, it's something you didn't think somebody was going to do. I feel helpless as a Liverpool fan right now. And I dare say I'm not alone. We look so lost time and time again during set pieces, just standing around watching the ball bounce around until it finds the other team. Lads, we were going 5th. Hugo scored a brace. Confidence should have been flying. And then Ibu, once again, starts the process of the decline. Then we still find a way. A lovely bit of work. A beautiful dummy from Maka. And Szoboszlai tucks it away. And we still can't see it out. Something has to change. Craig, will they have the courage to sack him? I can't answer that question. Like, let's ask, do you think he should be sacked? I'm not giving you a man of the match poll because none of them deserve it. Sorry, bear with me. Should Arna be sacked? We'll leave that go. Here's where I'm at. I don't see what continuing to give him more time will do. I don't. Was the attitude better today? Yes. Yes, it was. But ultimately, we leave with a point from a winning position, having scored 3 away from home. So small improvements ain't going to cut it. The rot isn't stopping. This was the easy run of fixtures. The easy run of fixtures. We've been trounced by Forest, trounced by Eindhoven, beat the poorest team in the league in West Ham. We're lucky to get a draw home to Sunderland and shit the bed again away against Leeds. He has to go. He has to go, as does Canade. He has to go. Canade has to go. Slaw has to go. Will said, evening Craig, I find this result out of all losses the hardest one to take. But the one for certain for me I don't want to see is Ibu in a red jersey again. Let me just stop the super chats and go into the normal chat for a while as well, because I don't want to ignore everybody in there. Slot's failures are evident in Virgil's performances. Even Virgil can't fool the team to carry the gaffer's orders. Any other manager would be sacked by now, said Barry. I feel so sickened, said Paul Daly. Not having another consistently fit centre-back has ruined us this season, said Bury FC. Trey said Canade out, Craig. I wish we signed Mark A. So do I, my friend. So do I. Elvis the King said Gakpo was horrid. They won't let him go. Maybe if losing against Inter Milan. So remember when we were winning this game and we were saying we're nearly fifth, right? That's how condensed the league is now. So if the owners have anything about them, they will look to the fact that even a new manager or a temporary manager bounce. 3 wins and we are back in that Champions League mix properly. It is now the time. We can't keep praying that everybody else is inconsistent as much as we are, that Chelsea keep throwing away points. We need to be proactive now. He ain't that guy. He can't get a tune out of the players. They're soft. The team's weak. Nobody takes pleasure in saying that. But how else can you describe a capitulation from 2-up to 2-all? And it isn't the first time. Let's think back to the start of the season. How many times did we go 2-up to be pegged back only to find late winners? This is a consistent problem with us conceding goals. Arna will come out and talk about the limited chances teams had. I don't give a fuck. Those limited chances are turning into goals. And he can't stop that rot. How many goals have we conceded this season? Again, you go away from home and you score 3 goals. You're perfectly within your rights to assume that wins you the game of football. But we can't defend, particularly from set pieces. Andy said, backed him long enough. He's got to go. Canade as well. Played him every game this season. Meanwhile, Chiesa, who saved his job, not getting a look in. Unbiased pick said, I don't know what to say anymore. It was a pen. It was. Look, I've no problem with that decision. If it was the other way around, I'd have been screaming for it as well. But you come down to simple moments and simple things about decision making. You hear so many times about small margins in sport at the top level. That's what Canade's stupidity was today. The small margin that fucked us. And it isn't a one-off. Every fucking game, this clown is shitting the bed. We go 2-0 up playing well. Ibu allows them back in the game. We capitulate and crumble. 3-2 up and we still can't hold on. Absolutely disgraceful. Never usually react like this, but it hurts. Do you think they will sack him? No. No. Unfortunately, mate, I don't. Let's read you through some of the quotes. Dominic Soboslai said, I don't know what happened after 2-0. I think we thought the game was over and we just made sure at the beginning of the game that this is the kind of game where you can never underestimate the team. Maybe after the penalty, they just had the momentum. We came back, which showed a good reaction, but we conceded again from a set piece. Is not the nicest way. He also said, I don't know, maybe you're right, but after 2-2 we showed great reaction and showed our mentality. We knew we made a mistake letting them back in at 2-2. I have nothing to say about the result. I'll say for you, Dom, your centre-back fucked you again. And your defender's inability to defend the lead fucked you again. He is right. The players did show a reaction after getting it back to 2-2. And they did find a way to take the lead. But they also found a way to capitulate from a set piece again. And not one of us are surprised about it. Not one. When it went 3-2, we sat back and wasted time, said Martin King. We did, mate. We did. There's just like we talk about leadership, international captains. Where is any of this leadership? Nobody's standing up. I must be 4 or 5 times this season we've been pegged back from 2 goals up. Sometimes we've found a late winner, and we thought we had that with Soboslai's goal. So yes, Dom is right. They did show balls to come back into it. And today feels very much like it's under the defence. It really does. We can talk about the midfield at times, but the defence has to stand up in these moments. They really do. You don't be conceding from corners in the 96th, 97th minute. This proves Mo's not the problem. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't prove he's not the problem. He's an attacker. We scored 3 goals. Mo is part of the problem, but he isn't the sole problem. But, let's not turn this into Mo proved everyone right. We scored 3 goals. We should have won the fucking game. All you little gimps that take any fucking chance to try to big up Mo to shit on the rest of the team can honestly go to fuck. All of you. I'm sick of you. Liverpool fans are sick of you. You are not a Red. You're a Salah fan. You're an embarrassment. Fuck off. Everything has to be made about Salah in your heads. It's embarrassing. Salah had nothing to do with today, in a good or a bad way. I'm done with the Salah fanboys. Go support another club. You are rotten to the core. I haven't had this feeling since Hodgson. Maybe Kenny can stop it again. Stevie, Costas, anyone. I haven't felt... Oh, sorry. Players are throwing the manager under the bus. I absolutely agree with that as well, yes. I thought my team United is bad. Man, Liverpool is worse. Conceding after 500 million spending. Well, look, it was 450 million spent, and it was less money net spend than Arsenal. But still, that's not an excuse. We are a laughing stock, mate. We just are. At 2-0, we needed to change players, but Mr. Boring wouldn't do it. He has to go. But he did change players at 2-0. He brought on Joe Gomez for Conor Bradley, and he brought on Alexis McAllister for Florian Wirtz. So he did make the changes at 2-0. Weird how Ali never comes out for crosses and corners. He used to be very good at it. If that's supposed to be instructions, it's not working. I said this about Alisson a few weeks ago. He's been too weak under the high ball lately, and he's been punching stuff he should be catching and not coming out for stuff that he should be commanding. When the ball's being scored at the far post in the 6-yard box, we have a problem. We have a problem. And look, on the substitutions, let's be honest about it. The substitutions were absolutely understandable. You can say they killed us, but we're 2-0 up. You've got a right back who's just coming back from an injury, so was never going to see out the game. So it was always very clear that Joe Gomez was going to come in at about 65. I said it before the match. And McAllister for Wirtz, surely we can understand that if you think he needs him again on Tuesday in Milan. He's not bringing off Wirtz and bringing on some untested kid. He's bringing on a World Cup winner. So, and again, we were 2-0 up. Any professional team should be able to manage that situation. But what this showed again is that as soon as this shit hits the fan, we collapse. And that's across the board, unfortunately. It isn't on any one player. Yes, Canade started the slide with the stupidity. But the capitulation, it isn't new. Honest question to you guys. Sarah said stop crying. Do you see tears, Sarah? You just keep watching like a good little girl and let the big boys do the big boy stuff. Here's a question for you, and I genuinely want to know your answer on this one. Is anybody else fed up of the Salah cloud that hangs over from his fans? I'm not talking about the man. I'm talking about the ones that moonlight as Liverpool fans when things are good. But when things are bad, all of a sudden, Salah's been fucked over and we're all arseholes. And the clubs are arseholes. I'm sick to death of them. I'm sick to death of them. If you say that, you're racist. If you don't give them a 10 out of 10, you have an agenda. These people are a toxic cancer in our fan base. And they need to be called out. Because they don't have the club's best interests or your best interests. They have one person's best interests. So, at this point, the ones undermining his legacy are his own fans. They need to take ownership of that before they start to look at the rest of us. Because you're an embarrassment. Why is Canade playing slip and slide? There was even a moment actually after he gave away the penalty. Sorry, let me just There was even a moment after he gave away the penalty where he was going in a flying sliding challenge inside the Leeds half on the right hand side. He just has these brain farts in him, unfortunately. This one. At the beginning of the match, Slot cited, "We've been working on the fence. Cheap words. Completely agree on everything you're saying. Thank you. Appreciate you. And thank you for your support as a member. People want a guy who failed in Saudi. Clueless. Who are we talking about here? Genuinely, I'm confused. Who are we talking about? Who failed in Saudi? I'm not trying to be a smart arse. Inzaghi? I'm not sure who we're talking about there, mate. Sorry. Itachi said, usually when there's a problem, people come out to solve it. It doesn't seem anybody at this club wants to solve anything. I don't recognise this team. It hurts. Every time the players are given the freedom to attack, they score. The minute they've got to hold back and follow the manager's supposed defensive setup, it crumbles," said Ryan. And thank you, Ryan. In-gear driving school said, "Feeling sick now. If we won our last 2 games, we'd be back in it." That's it. We've had so many chances this season. Gerrard. Sorry, Gerrard. Thank you, man. I was trying to figure out who that was. No, look, for me, when we had the conversation about Gerrard, it is a short-term thing from almost just an inspirational standpoint, if that makes sense. Like, I would be one that says bring in Gerrard, but I would be one that would caveat that by saying, under absolutely no circumstances should there be a conversation about that being anything other than a stopgap. Even if Gerrard came in and won 4 games, I wouldn't want him as the manager. But I do think something like that could help us build confidence a bit. But he isn't the solution in the longer term, 100%. Sorry, I didn't realise who they were talking about first. My apologies. When we time waste on 91 minutes, the gig is up. Look, I've nothing wrong with us trying to see a game out when you've gotten a lead and it's late. I've no issue with that. But like I said, I asked the question at the very start. Was anyone surprised when Leeds got the goal from the corner? You were hurt, but I have to say I wasn't in the least bit surprised by it. He was given 5 games, gone after the Inter match, said Sean. See, this conversation makes me laugh, Sean, because we've had Salah is your king, you're a clown. Why is it you're another dumb fuck? I'm the king, bitch. I'm the king here. Me. I'm the king. Bow down. You can't string a sentence together, you dumb little fuck. And it's no surprise that, you're supporting Salah over everything else because, you're just another cook. But that's okay. Big boys are here to deal with the big boy problems. You just sit down and let us talk about solutions. And then you can put your Mohamed Salah PJs on, go to bed, and have your little dreams about Mo winning Ballon d'Ors. We'll deal with the big boy things here. Anyway, as I was saying, the 5 games thing, I feel like we're kicking this can, Sean, down the road, mate. Because Forest game, we said 3 more games. And we've still shit the bed time and time again. So now, I feel like we're just going to keep having this conversation. He needs to win this. He needs to win that. And then he doesn't, and then we'll make another excuse and we'll go again. Oh, we're going into fat jokes now. Are you going to lose any weight, bro? Tell your man to stop feeding me and I'll lose weight. I can lose weight, but you'll still be a loser. See? It's no problem. You'll still be a no mark on the internet doing fuck all when I lose weight. See, I'm going to win regardless, bro, so you just concentrate on it. And please feel free to say that to me if you ever see me, and I'll break your fucking jaw. Simple. Easy behind the keyboard, but you wouldn't say it to my face because I'd go through you, the guy next to you, and the other 3 cunts standing there as well. So again, Billy Big Bollocks on a keyboard, another no mark who hasn't got the balls to do what I do, or do anything other than sit on the internet shitting on people, because you're a freak. Simple as that. Simple. It's funny how none of you little cunts ever show up when I'm out in public. Always behind the keyboard. Bitches. Simple. You've got nothing. Nothing going for you. Nothing positive. You're just a waster who sits on the internet trying to shit on people because you don't have to get up and go to do what with your own life. Simple as that. That's all it is. Know your place. That's what you are. That's all you will ever be. Until you start showing the world and the people in it some respect. Until then, you're another no mark on the internet going nowhere. Own it. The real Johnny Sin said, if United don't win against Wolves on Monday, Amram will be sacked. Therefore, we must act now. Look, we say this all the time, bro. We say this all the time. You and I and everybody else on the chat, we can't make this decision. We've asked the poll here in the chat and we've said, should Arna be sacked? Even allowing for the fact there's going to be opposition fans saying no, we're still at nearly 80% and it's had over 10,500 votes. Klopp mentality kings to this more than a defeat. And it's symptomatic as well. How can he say something to you when in person you're too scared to go out? Did you ignore the 8 live shows I've did over the last year? You stupid little fuck. But you and all the other little piss ants just sit on the internet threatening people. But you don't show up. I was told I was going to be shot at my last 3 live shows. Where were you? I was there. In the city of Liverpool. Standing there. But all you internet hard men were nowhere. Because that's all you are. Pussies. Each and every one of you last motherfuckers are just pussies. So like I said, I'm not hard to find. Find me. And do what you want. But you won't. Because you're all gobby. Now shut the fuck up. You won't go outside. I've literally done 8 shows in the last year. Well advertised. Simples, bro. You're just another waster. Simple as that. I know what I am, who I am, and where I'm from. All you are is going to walk into a punch in the face someday because you will say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and the internet and mammy and daddy and the keyboard you're hiding behind won't be there to save you when somebody eventually gives you the ass whooping that you're walking into. So carry on, bro. Carry on. It's all just laughy stuff to me, bro. Means nothing. Where was I at? This one. He needs to go, but today just won't. Craig Moore said, leave Canade alone, he's trying his best. No, he's shit. And what he's trying to do is tank our season, bro. That's what he's trying to do. Craig, I'm so sad. Like, football's my escape. My God, I'm not able to watch anymore. Like, my heart can't take it. It's just so hard to watch. So it's so weird, Luke. Like, at the minute, mate, when we conceded that third goal, I just didn't have the anger in me to get mad about it. It almost felt, and I honestly take no pleasure in saying this, but it almost felt inevitable that that third goal was going to go in. Um, yeah, it's a tough one. Look, I'm going to go through some of the quotes from our manager now. Arna said, "There's a sense of disbelief. I think we played quite well to very well during large parts of the game. Went 2-0 up. I don't think we had any problems, and I don't think we conceded a chance until the moment we make a foul, which is not even a chance." I don't know what to say about that. Why doesn't he just come out and say, we lost because of an individual mistake from a centre-back again? He won't even own up to what's actually happening. That's what's really frustrating about this. Arna also said, it's 2-1 and not many moments later, the first chance they had, it was 2-2. We go up and you think you've done enough to win the game, then a set piece leads to 3-3. All he's basically just doing here is narrating what happened. It's like, it's not a surprise, Arna, mate. It isn't at this point. What's a surprise is that you're still in a job. What's a surprise is your shocking treatment of Chiesa. What's a surprise is your inability to coach a defence or a set piece. They're the surprises here for a man who's been paid 7 million quid a year and has been gifted millions upon millions of pounds of talent. None of this is a surprise to Liverpool fans who know we're soft at the minute. It's just sad. And his inability to just own the situations are just pathetic. Joshua, how many times are you going to watch Gakpo get the ball in space just to take it inside and either sky across, shoot nowhere, goal, or pass it right back? Rio would provide so much more. The one that really annoyed me, Joshua, today was, I can't remember exactly what point of the second half it was, but there was a ball played into space and Gakpo had held his run on the halfway line. And he got into the space and he got the ball. And the defender's almost side by side with him. And what you would want an attacker to do in that situation is cut across the front of the defender, which basically says, you're not challenging me, because if you challenge me, you're bringing me down and it's a red. But what he does is runs in a straight line, and then as the defender becomes alongside him, he edges out wider left and it eventually just wastes down. That was a moment that I think, Joshua, summed up the problem with Cody Gakpo. Just that one moment on its own, I thought was a perfect encapsulation of why we don't have enough pace. Because a Rio or a Chiesa, anybody with a bit of pace would have knocked that ball and ran straight past the defender in front of him and given him that decision to make. You can't touch me, because if you do, you're in a red. But he didn't. And again, that shows part of the problem with him. This one from Unbiased said, any team can play through us so easily, yeah, but we find it hard playing through every team we play. The defensive structure of the team is awful. The coaching is making players look poor. I agree. We're definitely really, really easy to play through. Spot on, mate, you know. I'm with you on that one. You let them back in with subs like Amram, West Ham. So I would respectfully disagree on the substitutes. I would respectfully disagree on that, and I'm going to try to explain why, Nicky. Before the game, I had said that I expect Conor Bradley to be taken off at 65 minutes because he's coming back from an injury. And on top of that, you've got a Wirtz who, let's not forget, was also coming back from an injury. And the manager would have been told that these guys are getting into a danger zone, whereas if they continue to play, they're probably going to pick up that knock or it might get worse. So on those particular two substitutions, I've absolutely no problem with that. I've absolutely no problem with that, because I think that they were sensible substitutions. But what it doesn't explain, mate, is the capitulation that came. And again, we brought on Joe Gomez and a World Cup winner in Alexis McAllister. So after that, look, I don't know. But on the substitutions, I have to say I at least understand why he made those two. Um, Bradley was booked also. Yeah, but look, to be fair, Bradley had managed that book, and I thought quite well throughout the game. I thought he was a bright spark. But look, whatever way we dress this up, we've now had 15 games, 9 losses, 2 draws, 4 wins. In 15. 4 wins. Whatever way we want to dress that up, that's unacceptable. And we're still continuously dropping points. And as I can't remember if it was Paul Gorst or somebody else said the other day, a draw is just a loss with better PR. And the way this draw came about, like I said, Leeds fans are leaving Elland Road now buzzing with a point. Feels like a win. They'll enjoy their points, or they're evening out tonight, and they'll be upbeat and happy. Beating Chelsea, and they've come back against us 3 times. Whereas we're sitting here scratching our heads, trying to find anything positive. And then you've got people coming into the chat to abuse me and other people. And I find them cowardly scumbags. And it's the part of the internet I hate, because it isn't our community. I don't like going in on any people, but I'm not going to sit here to be abused by anybody and just go through this ignore it shit. I shouldn't have to ignore it. Nobody should, because it shouldn't happen. So all that happens when this is, I go back to use a member-only chat and fuck over the rest of the chat. So what I would say is, in these moments, it should be policed by ourselves, and these idiots should be removed, because they're not here to do anything productive. I know I'm fat. I'm well aware of that. I know I'm sad when we lose. I'm well aware of that. But I make no apologies for who I am. I am who I am. And if a day comes that you come on here and you hear Craig's not here because he's killed himself, you'll know why when these days happen. I'm going to keep being me and putting my best foot forward and opening up my heart and trying to be kind. But I'm never going to sit here to be abused by anybody. I deserve better than that. So does our community. These people are just freaks who have no happiness in their lives. I'm not talking about the banter. Absolutely welcome the banter. Laughing at us, calling us a banter club, all cool. All very welcome. Part of the game, no probs. And I never have had a problem with that. But, have some fucking common decency as a human being. It's almost all the players are having a bad year. You have to blame the coach. If almost all the players are having a bad year, you have to blame the coach. Exactly. But look, I do also fully respect what other people say when they say it isn't all on Arna. Of course it's not. But we know how football works. We can't go into the dressing room and sack 14 players. So ultimately, it's going to be the manager who suffers at the hands of players' failures. I'm not saying it's right, but it's the football world, and that's the way it goes. No way this clown beats Inter or even Brighton. He shouldn't be in the position to do it, though, honestly. Yeah. Oh, look, another Arabic-style account bigging up Salah. Shock. Fucking horror. You lads have nothing else to do, no? Salah's days are dwindling down, and all you fuckers are doing is just making it more toxic. And then you'll blame people on Salah hate when you're the ones causing most of it with your delusion. You're not Liverpool fans, like I've said. You're a disgrace. Mahmood, I believe that the quality of our players is saving his job. I can't believe I'm watching the same team from last year. Yeah. Mahmood, today, mate, right, when Dom got that, what should have been the winner. And do you know what? I'm going to be honest, Mahmood. I actually thought it was the winner when he scored it. And I felt like, fair play. They have a pair. They have responded to that setback to get 2-2. And then, I guess that's probably why it's hurting me so much today, is I thought that was the moment. And I thought, all right, we've gotten away with one here. And then I thought we'd be talking about looking back on this. And I hoped that we'd be looking back on that moment in 2 or 3 weeks thinking, fine margins, maybe this was the turning point. Because if we had have seen that game out after conceding the 2 and then Dom scoring it, I really think it would have given a real injection of positivity to the group and a confidence builder that they stood up to be counted. But now, unfortunately, that good work and that fight was undermined by the defensive lapse again at the end with the set piece. So I'm sorry if I offended somebody, but how stupid do you have to be slotting Canade? I get that not everything is on slot, but he can change it. He can't change it. There's just a culmination of factors, mate. And Canade, for whatever reason this season, potentially maybe only known to him, has been all over the shop. And yeah, I don't know. Only Canade can tell you why his head is nodded this season, mate. But, I think it's not helping his cause when he's refusing to sign a deal. Clubs are pulling out of interest in him left, right and centre. PSG ruled it out. Madrid ruled it out. And yet we're seemingly rewarding that with consistent starts. Ella said, do you think he'll get the sack? No. Unfortunately, Ella, my friend, I don't. I think he deserves it. But I don't think he does. I think these draws are just prolonging the inevitable, unfortunately. We should support him like United back Amarim. That's absolutely your prerogative, Luke. No probs. But let's just remember United have gone through how many managers over the last few years? So I don't really think... I think at United at some point they have to say we need to stick with somebody for a bit. But like I said, no problem, Luke, if you want to keep supporting him, bro. That's... I respect your right to do that. Do we not hire a set piece coach? So Aaron Briggs has been the one that was promoted up to deal with set pieces. And look, I don't know Aaron Briggs. So all I can say is whoever is dealing with our set pieces and our defending is not fit for their job. Have Van Dijk's performances ended the Vidic comparisons? Shout out 2-minute draws, group chat. In what sense? Van Dijk's a better player than Vidic. Come on, let's be honest about it. Like, Vidic would tell you Van Dijk's a better defender than Vidic. And I say that as somebody who... I actually don't even think Vidic was your best defender. I think Rio was the best defender I'd seen at United, mate. But Virgil van Dijk is a better defender than Nemanja Vidic would ever be. And I don't even think that that's me having red tinted Liverpool glasses on. And his fellow pros will tell you that. And look, Vidic and Ferdinand were an incredible set of centre-backs, my man. No doubt about it. Rio Ferdinand was incredible. I hate him as a person and some of the shit he comes out with, but he's an incredible defender. This week shows what level we're at under Arna, said Pulse, aiding gains. The reality is the Slot is a mid-tier coach and we're playing like a mid-tier team. Cokes, you said, I'm struggling to blame this on Slot. Terrible Canade tackle equals goal. Soboslai pass equals counter-attack goal. Maybe I just love Slot, but I'm thinking it's schooled by errors causing this form. There's definitely some truth to that, mate. There is. But I think, like I said at the start, it comes back to the symptoms of where these problems stem from. And, we can point to 4 Canade errors over the last month that have cost us. So continuing to play him does put some of the blame on Arna to me. But absolutely today, probably more so than any other day, I would say it's less on the manager and more on individual problems. But let's look at where we are overall, though. 15 games now, 9 losses, 4 wins and 2 draws. Whatever way we dress that up, mate, that's not acceptable. Azam, thank you, mate. Appreciate you. Canade was our best defender today. He wasn't. The answer for the best defender today, and it isn't even close, was Conor Bradley. And it's not even close. Conor Bradley was clear. Best defender on the pitch today for us by a mile. I blame Virgil sending Kirkes to block the right back side just because it's a corner kick. It's sad, and Gravenberch was so sluggish at defending. Kirkes would have blocked that last corner if he was in his spot. So I'll have to look back at that, the exact setup for the third goal, because I can't remember it, mate, off the top of my head, but I will have a look back at it. That's not on the manager. Defence fell apart. So, like I said, I agree to an extent, but the way that weakness has festered is on the manager. But I do get where you're coming from, Matty, today. This feels less like an Arna issue today. But again, it's a confidence issue, and it's shot. And we're very soft and weak and susceptible to set piece goals. And he can't coach that out of them. Give Slot a 10-year contract as a United fan. Yeah, see that, like I said, man, I've no problem with that. That's banter, fairs. Yeah, look, I could turn around and say, mate, Amram's no great shake either, but look, both of us are a shit show at the minute, let's be honest. This is not the Liverpool we love. Sorry, Slot has to go. I'm sick of this BS now. This one hurts. Does Slot get a new deal? You know the answer to that, mate. I struggle to watch my team. Our mentality is completely broken. I don't know how Arnott is still in a job. Where's the spirit like Leeds showed? I want to give some of the credit, though. They showed spirit to get that third goal. You know, that was a good reaction. But unfortunately, that good reaction and that fighting spirit showed by Szoboszlai and some of the lads at the attacking end of the pitch was then massively undermined by the poor defensive side. Bradley said, think the recruitment was set up for failure. Squad isn't built for a style he wants. Slots tactics are ever changing and adapting. Players need clarity. It's tough to look back on and know. Look, ultimately, the way I look at it is he moans about low blocks so much, and we have enough talent that we should be able to play through low blocks. And Leeds today, you know, you can't go into a game that has 6 goals in it and talk about a low block. So, you know, today it was our own inability to see it out that cost us. And of course, fair play to Leeds for showing bottle and credit to come back into it. I don't know where you're going with that, mate, or what to say to it, Luke. Gakpo and Kirkes, he loves them, says it all. I don't think Kirkes was a problem today. Personally, I don't. I think Kirkes show good energy again. Gakpo and not using overlapping runs and making that inside cut all the time is a problem. Definitely. Canade ducked out the header for the third goal for Leeds, at fault for the third as well. I'll have to look back at that one, mate. I'll have to take your word for it for now. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look back at it. But thank you. Adam said, Craig, keep up the good work. Chiesa needs to come on. Gakpo is shadow. I want the pressure and press. Back the team's feared. We're a laughing stock. Unfortunately, yeah, look, it really, really hurts at the minute, doesn't it? There's not much to get your teeth into here to be optimistic or upbeat about. I think that's 4 times in the lead, and once Hugo subbed off, we threw it away. He puts us on the front foot, but Slot decides we should drop back 5 yards. Yeah, so it's his substitution, fair enough, yeah. He was incredible today and really made himself, I think, undroppable, Hugo Ekitike. So you'd hope at least moving forward, you know, if Isak plays, he has to play with him, because if you're saying right now which one should be starting, it's definitely Ekitike. My uncle Shammy's waiting for slot outside Elland Road. Okie doke. This team has no leadership. VVD's not the same. Captain always said we need support, but we support the team. Where's the results? Of course they support the team. You know, yeah, it's just soul destroying. Again, I can't believe we're sitting here talking about more points dropped after being 2-0 up and managing it seemingly quite well. It's just these are the type of things that I can't really quantify, but it just reinforces my belief that he's got to go. Slot started subbing off attackers in the 60th minute with defensive footballers for safety, and there's competition in attack. The subs didn't make any sense whatsoever. So which subs is this? Because I do think the first two made absolute sense for the reasons I spelled out. Bradley was coming off another right back in his position because he's coming back from an injury. Same with Wirtz. So those two I'm absolutely fine with. But yeah, he could have left Hugo on. I have no argument about that. He could have brought Salah on. Could have brought Rio on. There are definitely things he could have done. Because if he should know it now, he should know by now that us sitting back to see something out isn't working and doesn't work, and the players bringing on to do that doesn't work. You know, again, Endo's come in and it's not stopped us conceding, has it? And again, I'm not blaming Endo, but I'm saying our identity is to be full throttle in your face from the front, not deep defending, blocking it from the front and not letting you get into our half or you having to go long. When we drop and sit back and invite that pressure, we don't know how to defend it. Craig O'Clock Dan said, for people that think this isn't on Slot, remember Jurgen won with Reece Williams and Nat Phillips. Oversized clown shoes, Gakpo still playing 90 minutes. John Allison said, loved Hugo today, 2 good goals, but gave away too many cheap fouls. Ibu was really good until the penalty, crazy decision. Slot needs to go. Why Gakpo playing before Chiesa? The only answer I can give you to the Gakpo and Chiesa thing is it's an agenda. It's an agenda, and it is an agenda. The manager has an agenda against Chiesa. It should be written about far and wide by every journalist. It should be brought up at every press conference. It should be a huge, major talking point for multiple reasons. And one of those reasons is he's undermining his own depth. Here. Fuck off, Arna. This is another one of these I can't believe I'm about to read it out quotes. But I'm going to read it out. Arna Slot on Liverpool's season. There's every reason to be positive. Maybe we've played 2 games where the other team has created more chances than us, but that's not what it's about. It's about scoring goals. It's about not conceding. That's beyond delusional. Like, that's just... How does nobody call him? How did the interviewer not go, what? How is there every reason to be positive? When you've won 4 games in the last 15, you've lost 9, you've thrown away 2-0 leads over and over again. The man is an idiot. Arne Slot is coming out with idiotic quotes, which is making him look like an idiot. It's ridiculous. Look, let's be honest. If this was any other club's manager, we'd be falling around the floor laughing at the delusion. He's turning us and himself into a laughing stock. Peter said, Arne play Canade and expect to win football matches. Everybody sees that Ibu has at least 3 mistakes every game. Why, Arne? Why? It'll come down to a couple of things. not getting a centre-back in the summer window and the unluckiness with Leone. But again, like you've said, mate, throwing him in there, are we supposed to be surprised that he makes another mistake? I'm not, and I dare say you're not either. Mike said, net spend per 3 years, Liverpool 291.7 million, Manchester United 392.6. I know that, Mike, but it still doesn't take away from our own failures. And I'm only interested in really, this isn't at you, bro, but I'm only interested in us addressing our own deficiencies. You know, United are what they are. We won the league and are now, I don't even know, where are we now in the league table? Let's have a look. Where are we now in the league table? Eighth place after 15 league games, and we're fucking 8th. Fans need to start booing, get Salah gone. There are some right clowns in the chat. Do you think VVD will take Canale aside for a harsh word? He will in his arse. He's now captain, said Alan O'Brien. But he already had the meeting, didn't he, Alan? You know, where he got everybody together for the big team talk, which, as we see, hasn't really worked. Rob Dan said, I didn't like Slot even from that season. He has no charisma. It's unknown how he achieved success in Feyenoord. Trent said 1 win and 5 in an easy run after the international break. Thank you, mate. Thank you for saying that. Because I'm really getting frustrated with people saying, but we might beat Inter Milan. But what you've said is right. 1 win in the 5 easy games of the easiest run, according to Opta, of anybody in the league. And we've been trounced at home by 3 twice. Beat the worst team in the league, probably in West Ham. Got lucky to get a draw because of Chiesa, who again gets shafted. And then today capitulated and take another point. All these opportunities could have gotten us back up that league table. But nobody is willing to just back up what you're saying there in the public. Every week I see different excuses made by journalists for the manager. And ultimately, there's just no standards. They're not holding anybody to account. He has to go. Gary, 2-0 up cruising, then Canada gives away a pen and throws squad under the bus. Gakpo terrible again. Semenyo Gay in January needs to happen. A few months ago, clubs were terrified to play us. Yeah, and we had an identity star girl. Now we don't. Ekatike, MVP for us tonight. 2 goals and still not enough. I pity him so much. Watch Isak start for no reason. Well, look, what tonight's done, mate, is make it very clear who the in-form centre forward is and who should be starting. Without a doubt. Galileo said, does Canada play horrendously every game? Not every game, but more often than not this season, yes. Thank you, mate. Slot has 0 charisma, the opposite of Klopp. LFC urgently need to get a centre-back in January. No messing around whether Slot's there or not. What manager would you take and avoid now? I don't know in the long-term successor. I really don't. I've been honest about that. What I'd take would be a short-term replacement to put some confidence back into the team. But longer-term, truth is, I really don't know. John Irving said, I really don't know what to say. I'm struggling to find a polite comment. Zonal marking needs to go. Slot and Canada as well. Regards and respect to you. Thank you, John. Yup, King Craig, shut them up. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your support. Tough one today, honestly. People love kicking people when they're down. And I'm not talking about the banter. I'm always open to the banter. I'm talking about the personal low-life shit. I love Mo, but Slot's tactics this season aren't meant for him. He plays him wide, possession-based, and that doesn't work. So I understand him benched. Thank you. Very sensible post, mate. Thank you. Stephanie, thank you as well. I'm surprised the haters are still talking after you shot Trent. Slot's got to go. Need to get Isak and Ekatike in the same 11. I'd love to see them in the same 11 for sure. If we buy Gay and Semenyo, bench Salah, Gakpo, Canade, we're good. Need to change captains before manager. Big shout, that one. Big shout on the captain. I actually feel more sorry for the likes of Dom and Hugo, put in a shift week in, week out, getting us goals only to be let down at the back. Something needs to change and fast. Craig, don't give them the time, my man. Truth hurts. Yeah, look, I get that, but ultimately, my stance needs to be people need to start making a stance and not accepting it. It shouldn't always be the onus on other people to turn a blind eye. The onus should be on people to be better and people to be decent human beings. That's the problem with the internet. Turning a blind eye and just pretending these scumbags aren't there is never going to change it. Until social media companies and other internet users just remove these people from our communities. They don't add anything. They bring no value. They only have hate in their hearts. It's bad I'm not even angry anymore. I'm used to it. I don't think you're on your own. Today showed what our problem is, and that's defending. Ibu penalty was stupid, but the third goal for a player so big doesn't even want to cross the ball. Klopp let us down by choosing this slot, and Arna's song doesn't work. I mean, I don't think Klopp did that other than to try and big up the next manager, which, you know, I thought was a very kind gesture from Jurgen. These Salah FC fans need to F off with Salah when he goes in the summer. I honestly detest them. That wasn't on the manager today. Absolute melts in defence. Did you watch Endo throwing himself in front of the ball in the middle of the pitch? That's the kind of commitment and defending so many Liverpool players need to learn again. Standards. I agree. And there was some good blocks put in today at times by people out there, but we just, you know, again concede a silly goal. Never change, mate. Love your content. Thank you so much. When do you think we'll get slack for a slot or Ruben? I don't know. I don't know how close Amram is or isn't. I think they could both be fired and justifiably, to be honest. Slot has been poor since March. This team that won the Premier League's bad foundation for them. Faded over time, so let's not be fooled. This being Slot's Premier League. You're the reason I haven't given up on football. Thank you, Casper. That's so kind of you. At least we're 3 games unbeaten since September, said Itachi. Gravenberch is a CDM is a problem. Need somebody aggressive with tackles and headers. Missed those times where we used to have Fabinho in that position. Yeah, we definitely need a destroyer. Thank you. We'd probably lose to Plymouth again if we played them right now. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Craig, I'm a United fan. I have so much respect for you and your channel. Keep up the good work, my brother. Thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Mel B. King, thank you. On the positive side, we've a serious player in Ekatike. Yeah. You know, a few positives to take, but that's one of them, mate. Spot on, Lucas. Left Field 8 said, we love you the way you are, Craig. A true red. Thank you, man. I hope you're named after the band, by the way. But either way, thank you so much. That is extremely kind of you. And extremely generous of you. Really appreciate you. Thank you. I wanted to ask, what's the first team 11? I don't know, because I'd have to... Look, I think the front line should be Wirtz, Ekatike and Isak. And after that, I don't know. But I think those 3 need to play together. Porter Down Blue said, used to hate international breaks, but I give my right arm for one now. Starting to affect my mental health. Not a joke, not a subject I joke about. You're not on your own, mate. I'm really struggling. I've got so many problems in my personal life that I'm trying to sort out in between streams and stuff. And the one thing that is a release, and it's not just for me, to be honest, like a release for you and so many of us, isn't anymore. And, you know, yeah, just feeling really sad about seeing the hurt that so many people are feeling because of how bad we are. It's tough. Look at Pep, divorced last season, but has the character to push through it and fight for it. What Slot's excuse doesn't have the minerals? So Rafael Sanchez. He doesn't even seem to have the... What's the word I'm looking for? Moral courage to admit there's a problem. This delusion of trying to find a positive when none exists isn't going to get us out of this mess. Do you think top 4 is gone? Also love the content. No, I don't think top 4 is gone. I think if this continues and he stays in a job, it could be gone. But no, it's still absolutely on the table. But this is why they need to act now, because they're getting lucky that other teams are still so inconsistent. The way Gakpo plays feels like spamming a glitch on FIFA. Cut in, left cross, right shoe, pray it goes in. The last counter, Joe wasted, missed Trent. Endo looked really solid when he came in, said Gaines Dome, thank you. Sean Steed said, we should have replaced the manager in this so-called easy run of games. Now whoever replaces him has an uphill battle. That's a good point as well. But I can understand him trying to look at the fixtures and going, right, surely he can find a way through these. But now we're halfway through them easier run of fixtures and we're still none the better. And, you know, they have to act. If they give, like, the fan base wants him gone. It's not even in doubt. Daniel Fark, when asked if he thought Liverpool were vulnerable from set pieces, replied, I was always confident. So, you know, opposition managers coming in knowing damn well that they can get at us. Colin Flores, how are we, Colin? Canade makes a goal-causing mistake every game. You know that's what you get, so why play him? One of 500 reasons Slot has got to go. 2 Premier League wins since September. It's not even a debate, dude, at this point. Like, look at this. How many votes have we got now? 15,000 votes and 78% of people want the manager gone. The owners have to listen because the fans are turning. They're too polite to boo and be aggressive about it, but don't make that a support of Arna. Fans want him gone. United fan, but you should try Gravenberch at centre-back. He talked about it a bit, Lewis, but seemingly, again, we're not seeing any changes. Canada keeps getting the start. I'm sorry to say this, but Patches of Houlihan can coach this team better. Trying to be a little funny over a bad situation. Love as always, Craig and Connor. You're right, John. Like I said jokingly before the game, this is usually where we all go, I could coach this team better. But I actually think I could, and half of you guys and girls probably could as well. Because couldn't be much worse, could we? Alexander Sidarna should go. Take Canade with him. I'm done. Chad said, this is bad, Craig. Are they going to let the club down or make a move to rescue the season? Well, if they've anything about them, they'll know that this isn't going to turn the tide. Right, please don't send in any more super chats because I'm just going to fly through these last ones. Then we're going to record the player ratings and there'll be a news video at about 11 o'clock as well about the transfer window and stuff. So please don't send in any more super chats. As much as I hugely appreciate them, I've got to start getting through these now, winding it down. But if you want to submit your player ratings, you can still do so with the QR code in the bottom right-hand corner. David Francis says, regardless of playing hours, we still look miles off. So no Slot first half against Leeds is not great progress. I wonder what's happening at training. He just... And David, again, we don't take any pleasure in saying, but he sounds deluded at this point. He sounds like he's trying to talk himself into believing what he's saying. Arnie may just have said it's not about winning, it's about taking part. Clown. Our next manager should be Enrique. Oh, look, I think we'd all love that. But could you get him out of PSG? Probably not, but certainly the right type of character, footballing philosophy. I read that super chat out, Keane, about the Reece Williams one, mate. I read that out earlier. Where are we? This one, sorry. Heretic said, to think Everton are 5th and Liverpool are 8th. Yeah, and we could have been 5th with that win that we had the lead in twice. Love the community here, Craig. Legend. Chiesa must get a run of starts. Disgraceful from Slot. 4:30 AM kickoff here in Australia and get served up that shit. Yeah, I feel for you, my man. The dedication that fans from America, Australia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, everywhere else is... I feel for them all in this moment. So, okay, there's something that's just landed. You're going to want to hear this. Now, we're trying to verify it. So, if we can verify it, it's actually scary. So, there's a report that says Salah tells Norwegian TV that Slot has thrown him under the bus and that the club have broken the promises made to him. Said that Brighton might be his last game. Now, we're trying to verify that, but there's multiple accounts talking about it on social media. So, if we can verify, I will let you know. And if we can't, I'll let you know. But it is something that's doing the rounds now. Chad said, now I'm wondering if Slot really sacked up and told Salah he's sitting because of poor play, or is he used the excuse of resting for an AFCON? Screaming at the telly for Canady to come off, and I think new captain Dom make VVD prove himself again, said Johnny. Nimrod Hurwitz said, I find it funny how media journals list each week like 20 problems Liverpool have, but then say, seem to point the finger towards Slot being the reason behind most of them. I can't seem to point the finger. I've talked about that double speak a lot, mate, from journos. Even Carragher. Him and Neville spent 5 minutes saying why Liverpool were terrible and Arna was unable to figure it out, and then said, but it's too early to talk about sacking the manager. No, it isn't. He should be gone. Stevie G, in the summer, what we got to lose. Or till the summer, what we got to lose. I agree. Like, give him the job in a short term to at least G up the players. But he does have that tax implication that if he works before March, he owes a load of dough to the tax man because of he wouldn't have been out of employment in the UK long enough to get the tax breaks. Canady has made loads of mistakes. Kwanzaa got dropped for less and then sold. Yeah, he definitely did, Steve. So we think we're still trying to get 100%. Some people are saying the Salah quote is fake. Others are saying it's true. It sounds very unlike Mo to say, so I would be very surprised if it is true. But like I said, we're trying to figure out if there's any truth to that or not, and I'm sure we'll get an answer to it soon. But it seems very unusual and very unlike Mo. Where are we seeing we're unlucky and playing well? Where is he saying we're unlucky and playing well? Or where is he seeing? What is he? I'm sorry, mate. My eyes are just blurry. Where is he saying unlucky and playing well? Oh, hang on. Connor's now telling me it looks to be real. Connor's just said to me, it looks real. Fuck. When Connor says, this looks to be real, holy shit. The watch along said, it's true I'm from Norway and it's the biggest newspaper. It's real. So he's definitely done an interview with Viaplay. That's definite. So this is from a Norwegian news outlet. I can't believe it. I'm very disappointed. I've done so much for this club. Everybody can see that over the years, especially last season, to be on the bench, I don't know why. I feel like the club has thrown me under the bus. That's how I feel. So, did I say to you guys yesterday and today that I felt something was going to come out with Salah? You know? Give me my credit. I said to you something smells wrong here and something feels like it's going to get toxic and I don't want it to get toxic. I said this to everybody yesterday. I don't want it to end this way. He definitely said it. Connor said he's watching it now. He said it. Connor's watching the interview. He said it. So look, to anybody that wants to come in and slag me off all the time, I've got my finger on the pulse of what's happening at our club. And I can sense these things. And I take no pleasure in saying I was right again. But a lot of this wasn't passing the smell test. And I told you it felt like there was something wrong behind the scenes at the club. I said to you I couldn't back it up. I couldn't tell you 100%. But every fibre of me felt there was more to this than meets the eye. I'm going to go very quickly, record the preview video. And I'm going to re-watch this. And I'm going to see you guys later for a short stream. So if you can, come back and join me at about 10 o'clock. And we'll go through this and we'll pick the bones out of it in more detail when we can actually give you more context. I'll reach out to a couple of people I can try to find stuff from behind the scenes. And I'll hopefully see you guys back here at about 10 o'clock. All right? If you're around, cool. If you're not, no probs. Really quickly, look, Salah filled the gap. Obviously, we wanted more from him. Any club would want after replacing such an icon. But the truth of the matter is, he's now had a year and a half, made this mid-table team. Vibe Horse had said, "Hi Craig, United fan here. Massive respect for what you do. Thank you, sir. What, in your opinion, are the top 5 problems at Liverpool? The manager, the tactics, ego, belief, and obviously the Diogo situation has to be fairly into the conversation, and his tragic passing. Hey Craig, hope you and the family are well. I'd rather Kwanzaa over Canada. How do you feel about Inter away? Scared. Even more so now because shit's hitting the fan now. Would you go for a manager like Oliver Glasner? He'd certainly be in the conversation. He'd be in the conversation, as would Iriola, as would Sebastian Hoeneß. Right, 10 o'clock. I'll see you back here. And we'll go through this. I'll find out what I can. I'll see you then. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Love